I think we got everyone. So, well, up at base, I welcomed you guys to my kingdom. I think here it's safe to say, welcome to my castle. This is one of quite many caves in this glacier. Langjökull, the glacier that we are in, is Iceland's second largest glacier. And, well, being as large as it is, there's, well, space for quite many. I've seen quite a few, not just in this, well, glacier, but in other glaciers. And this one is definitely one of my favorites, because it has a bit of variety in it. You can actually see different types of ice, for instance. So I want to tell you guys a little bit about what you have around you. Now, to start it all off, we go about 300 years back in time, about 15 kilometers that way, on top of the glacier. There it snows every single winter, still does today, and the snow can accumulate up to about 30 meters of thickness. Now, that snow, along with all of the glacier, then moves. It is the weight of the snow that actually pushes the glacier out to the sides. And that weight just does not just move the glacier, but it also compresses everything that is underneath. So normal snow is usually about, well, maybe 10% water, 90% air, maybe even less water than that. But as it compresses, and then of course throughout the years as well, and with that temperature changes and rains and whatnot, a lot of the oxygen is pushed out. So the ice that is in the walls here used to be snow 300 years ago, and it's ice now, and there's more than 50% of it water. Probably a lot more than that, probably more than 3/4 of it. Now, in the ice, you can see these dark lines. This is what I call circles. Not that they are actually circles, but this is more like, well, the circles inside the tree. These are like year lines. So basically, a white layer is a winter, and then a dark line or a dark layer is a summer, because the wind blows, well, dust and dirt on top of the ice, and then a new ice layer or snow layer is formed on top of that. Whenever you see many layers very close to each other, that is probably, well, a very good season, so to speak. I'd say a few years in a row where it didn't really snow much. Not on the glacier, and therefore not in Iceland. If you see a very thick dark layer, either these, well, dirt layers have merged together, or what is quite likely here in Iceland at least, this might basically be a volcanic eruption. That is to say, it's an ash layer. And there is one of them. I am fairly certain that this here is an ash layer, also because it is darker than the rest of it. But to be absolutely sure, I would have to do some, well, real scientific research, and, well, I'm not the person for that. But like I said, it is simply quite likely as well. I mean, it might be total guesswork by me, but chances are I am right. We do get the occasional eruption here in Iceland. Now, what I like in particular, though, about this ice cave is another type of ice, really. What you see here in the ceiling. The ice caves are usually formed throughout the mixture of, well, movement of ice and the flow of water. And as you can clearly see, there is water flowing here. What happened is that about 10 days ago, yeah, I think that's fairly accurate, we had quite heavy rains in Iceland and some warm wind, so it even rained on the glacier. This is that rainwater still being squeezed out of the snow and ice on top of us. And I would guess that in about a week or so it will dry up. Depends on how cold it is. Sunday is supposed to be a little bit warm again, so it's probably going to take about a week. Now, when the water flows through the ice, especially in the summer when it melts a lot, these caves are formed. And this cave started to be formed, I don't know, maybe 150 years ago, a lot higher up on the glacier. Slowly been moving, and now it is reaching its end. We're getting close to the mountain, and if it doesn't melt in the next summer, the summer after that, it will definitely be crushed against the mountain. That's basically going to be the end of this cave. But it might even melt before that because, well, this opening that we have, the natural opening, we did not create the hole. means that there's warm air able to get in here in the summer, and that will melt the ice a lot faster. Now, some of the water in the summertime flows still through here, and it comes through 3 different openings. One all the way in the back there. Then you can actually see like a pillar in the middle. There it flows, and it flows down here. And this is basically a frozen waterfall. We call this a reverse grillukerti, or a reverse troll candle. Grilla is the mother of the Santa Claus here in Iceland. She is the main troll, sort of, in most of the troll stories. And the frozen icicles, we call them grillukerti, or troll candles. So these are her candles. Now, I have seen it completely dry, that is to say basically just frozen solid, no water flowing through it. But since there is water flowing alongside it, there is definitely still an opening. And in the summertime, you can actually see a little bit of light coming through, basically the sunlight. And what is even cooler than that, at least in my opinion, is, the ceiling, as I said, this is different ice. This is the water channel frozen. It must have gotten clogged up at some point, and the water that was flowing through it just froze through and through. This is a rare thing to happen, because water flowing inside the ice usually doesn't freeze. It takes such a long time, because it is isolated. The cold from the outside cannot reach the water inside, so it stays at a very, stable 0 degrees Celsius, and doesn't freeze most of the time. But this did. And now this is so clear, about 3 meters thick. When the snow is not on top, if a person walks over, you cannot see the person clearly, but you can see like a shade moving across. I've never seen that before. And most definitely not this deep inside the ice cave, or under the ice. And you can see what I'm talking about when I say that this is very clear. The wall that is facing the entrance, I left one light there shining into the wall. And if you just look where the light is shining, you can also take the light and move it a little bit about. You can see like meters into the ice. It's hard to realize how far you're looking, but I'm telling you, it's actually meters into it. Quite cool. Now, there is of course a lot more, both about this ice cave as well as glaciers in general, but I don't want to keep this too long. I want to leave you guys some time for exploring and making photos and whatnot. You can even come down here, just be careful. It is a little bit slippery here and there, and of course wet. And make sure you get up again at some point. I can help you guys with photos. If you have questions, feel free to ask. No matter what they're about, nothing is really off topic. And once I get bored, I will let you know that it is about time to leave. All right.
Thank you.